So I just filmed an entire video, got to the end, and then realised that I literally never filmed an introduction. So hey guys, welcome back. Or if you're new here, hi, welcome, I'm Georgia, and today we're doing my annual Q&A video. At least once a year or only once a year, literally around this time every year, I ask you guys some questions and I answer them both about true crime, history and personal things. I don't really do personal stuff on this channel anymore. I very much am a talking head. I'm here to share the stories I'm talking about and not talk about me. But I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of people wanting to know more about me personally, which my channel used to be a much more personal channel. All those videos are gone now. You're literally only going to find true crime and history on here now. But I understand people wanting to know more about the talking heads. Like, I want to know more about the YouTubers that I watch. So this is my singular compromise every year. So we're going to answer some questions. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor. I did realise as I was setting up this shot that my very fancy new microphone has got to be attached to a computer to work, and it's the only microphone I have, and I don't have a computer in my kitchen, so apologies if it's very echoey. I'm going to try and fix it in post-production editing, we'll see. So a lot of you have probably seen this before, because I put it out every time I have a HelloFresh sponsor, but this is my HelloFresh recipe book, filled to the brim with recipe cards, because I've used HelloFresh for years. No fake HelloFresh fans around here. I'm a genuine fan. I pay for my boxes every single week. This is this week's box. So HelloFresh deliver recipe boxes to your front door as often as you want them. You choose your meals online or on the app every single week, and then they deliver everything you need to create delicious meals from scratch. It's completely flexible, so if you need to pause for a few weeks, you can do that. You can change your recipes, you can cancel, you can change your address. Hello, Crumble. And Crumble's a fan, so what more do you need? Basically what I was saying is it all works around you. So, in our box this week, we have, where are my cards? There they are. We have hoisin pulled beef bao buns. I'm so excited for this, I love bao buns. We have roasted comfy duck leg and red wine jus, very fancy. And we have a chorizo and pea risotto. I have no idea what I'm going to cook tonight. I need to go and ask Holly and then I'm going to make it. I'm so hungry. There are so many reasons why I love HelloFresh and why I always come back to them. I mean, anyone who knows me can attest to the fact that I've been a fan for years now, ever since I first moved out and realised I had no idea how to cook. And now I'm an avid chef. I love cooking, I love trying out new recipes and finding things I've never cooked before. Honestly, I hand on heart thank HelloFresh for teaching me how to cook. Although saying that, actually, we are out multiple times a week. We're very sociable at the moment. Like, we're coming into summer, there's life happening, and I find that at the moment, whenever I'm going to the supermarket and buying like meals for a week, I end up throwing out a load of rotting veg. We just don't get around to eating it. It's honestly so infuriating and such a waste of money. I hate throwing away food. So HelloFresh just fits really well into my lifestyle. So we choose our 3 HelloFresh meals a week, although you can have as many as you want. We know it's all good quality, delicious food. We know everything that's going into our meals beginning to end, which I personally love. There's no food waste, no stress, and we're not throwing money down the drain. So, if you want to try HelloFresh for yourself, you can use my code GM60 for 60% off your first box and 25% off the next 8 boxes. That is fantastic value for money. Crumble is currently in the box. See, if you have cats, the HelloFresh box is perfect for cats. They love them. Or if you want to make your life really, really easy, you can just scan the QR code that's on screen right now to get this deal. And on that note, it is 7 PM on a Sunday night and I'm going to go make my dinner. Crumble, should we put the box on the floor for you? Yes. So I asked on my community page what questions you guys had for me, both true crime, history and more personal within reason, of course. And you guys came through. There's like lots of questions here. I'm not going to answer all of them. Like, usually I just answer the ones that have got like the most thumbs up, but a lot of these are like rehashes of questions I have answered multiple times over the years. That's boring for everyone. So we're going to see. We're going to see what happens. So the first question we have is, you often mention your anxiety. How do you manage this with stories of crime? And I do often mention my anxiety. It is a key personality trait of mine that I am just terrified of life. I got diagnosed with generalised anxiety disorder when I was 3 years old, in a time when nobody knew what anxiety was. And it's quite wonderful now, like, being able to talk about it and people actually know, like, what that means, because for my whole childhood, people had no idea what anxiety means. But that's besides the point. The question is, how do I manage this with stories of crime? And I do feel like one of the main reasons I'm interested in crime, in true crime, is because of my anxiety. I feel this, like, never-ending need to be able to have the answers to everything. I very much feel like if I can sort of learn as much as I can about something, then I can prevent it happening to me and to my loved ones and to everyone else. If I can talk about stories of true crime on here, I can help people, I can maybe prevent it from happening again to somebody else out there. And I think it is all very much intertwined with my pretty severe anxiety in a very weird way. Like, I don't necessarily hear a story of a missing person or a murdered person and immediately start worrying that's going to happen to me. My brain goes to, right, what can I do to stop this happening to me? And that is pretty much, like, that sums up my entire life. That sums up my entire personality. I am a problem solver, or not even a problem solver. I am a stop the problem even happening kind of person. And I feel like that's kind of how I manage. Of course, there are some stories which do get a lot for me. And at that point, I just need to take a break, step away, and then I can come back to it with a sort of fresh set of eyes. But I always try to remind myself that I do what I do on my channel for the greater good. Like, I want to be able to help people. I want to be able to spread the word of these unsolved true crime cases, and that kind of overrules any anxiety I'm feeling about it. Because if I'm feeling anxiety just reading about it, like, imagine what the families feel, what the loved ones feel, having lived through it. Imagine what the victim felt in that moment. Like, that overrules it. The same person also asked, how is my scoliosis? I'm not going to answer that here, but I did do a full video about that on my second channel literally last week, just a 10-year spinal fusion update. So again, that will be linked in the description box down below if you want to go over and peruse. Love your channel. You have me more interested in history than my teachers ever could. That is one of the biggest compliments, so thank you so much. How do I feel about the area or country that I live in? Do I see myself there forever, or would I like to live somewhere else in the future? For those of you who don't know, I live in England, if you can't tell by my accent. I live just outside of London in a town, I was about to say a small town, it's not a small town, it's a very big town called Reading. And I hate it. Reading is a bit of a shithole. It is not my favourite place in the world, but it is where all my favourite people are. And that throws a spanner in the works when it comes to moving away from this awful little town. I always joke that the best thing about Reading is the train station, which is very impressive, and you can get from Reading station to pretty much anywhere in the country. You can get into central London in 23 minutes, which is the best thing about Reading. But it's not just up to me where I live. I am very much a family person. I'm very close to my family. My girlfriend is very close to their family. We literally grew up 10 minutes apart from each other. Even though we didn't know each other at all until like 3 years ago. We've also both got horses, like we're soon to have 4 horses between us. So if we were to move away from Reading, we would have to pay a lot more in livery fees, stable fees, basically. Because at the moment we're very lucky to keep our horses with family members for cheaper than it would be elsewhere. Which I know is a very first world problem. Like, don't get me wrong, I know like how ridiculous that sounds. But it's something you've got to think about when you're planning where to live. So when we were looking at buying a house, we had very intense discussions about where we wanted to sort of put down roots, where we wanted to sort of like start our proper life together. And in all honesty, I didn't want to stay in Reading, but realistically, it makes the most sense. I've got to be in London a lot for work, so it makes sense us being near the train station, although we don't live in Reading town centre, but we live in Reading. So I've got to be near the train station. My girlfriend is very much like a country bumpkin, so she's got to be near open fields and fresh air. And Reading kind of has both those things. Given the choice, would I move to Brighton in a heartbeat? Yes, I would move to Brighton, and we really, really, really considered moving down to Brighton. But at the end of the day, we can't leave our families. And that's what we chose. Also, I would love to live in New York City one day, but I am not a millionaire. If I weren't doing YouTube and my podcast, what job do I think I'd be doing instead? Honestly, I don't have a clue. YouTube kind of fell into my lap at quite a pivotal moment in my life, and I don't know what I'd be doing if I wasn't doing this. I worked as a manager at a kids' soft play centre for many years alongside doing YouTube part-time. So I did YouTube part-time and that job part-time for like 3 years. Then 5 years ago, I went full-time on YouTube. 4 years ago? 4 years ago. 5 years, I can't remember. 4 or 5 years ago, I went full time on YouTube, and I've been doing it ever since. Like, my entire 20s have just been doing YouTube. So I actually don't know. I did train to become a makeup artist. I am a fully qualified makeup artist, but I realised very quickly with my spine, with my back, I couldn't do that full time, so that was pushed to the side. I wanted to go to university for fashion, for like dressmaking. But then I had to have my spinal operation and that got pushed to the side. And again, I can't spend my days hunched over a sewing machine with my back. So the two things I'm kind of most passionate about in life, or used to be most passionate about in life, makeup and dressmaking, I couldn't do because of medical problems, and now I just do YouTube. So I don't know. Probably some dead-end boring office job, if I'm being honest. Oh, I think I got another question as well about YouTube being my full-time job. Wait, where's that? Oh yeah, here it is. Is what you do on your channel like a full-time job? Do you spend many hours researching and preparing and filming? Your videos really are brilliant. I really enjoy watching them. Thank you so much. YouTube is my full-time job. Like I said, it has been for 4 or 5 years, whenever it is that I quit my other job. I literally work full-time hours. I work from about 9:30 to 5:30 every single day. Yes, I work from home, which means sometimes I do get distracted, but generally I work full-time hours. Yesterday I worked until like 6:30 because I had so much to do. 2 nights last week I was working until 7:30, I think it was. So I very much do full-time hours and I am busy all the time. There is never a day where I don't have work. I have been looking actually at getting a researcher for my page, not to write my scripts. I couldn't have somebody else write my scripts for me, like it needs to be in my voice, but just somebody to like compile all the sources and all the information that I can then like dive into easily. Just because like compiling sources is probably one of the things that takes the longest amount of time in this job. So yeah, I spend many hours researching, preparing and filming. Research is the thing that takes the longest. Like it can take me anywhere from like 2-3 weeks to write a video. Sometimes it's shorter if like the sources are really like helpful. Other times you're literally pulling from like 20 different places and trying to form like a intelligible story. So researching is definitely the thing that takes the longest, and then filming takes me, I don't know, like I probably film for like 4 or 5 hours a week. And then editing, I hate editing. I hate it so much. It is my least favourite part of this job. You can probably notice because my editing sucks. I did look at getting an editor, and let me tell you, how YouTubers afford editors, I do not understand. So you're stuck with my editing for the moment. But yes, I went off track there. I spend many hours doing my job. It's a full-time job. More than full-time sometimes not. Have I considered doing a university degree? If I remember correctly, you don't have one, and I'm very impressed by how you've developed your research skills on your own, so you'd do very well at a history degree. I'm sure I've probably answered this one before actually saying that, but I have considered doing a university degree many times. I think about it all the time, but realistically it's not something that I need to have. It's spending a lot of money on something that I don't know for sure that a degree is going to help me in the future, if I'm going to like need help getting a job in the future. If I did do a history degree, it'd be purely because I'm nerdy and I want to learn and educate myself further. And it's definitely something I wouldn't be like, no, I'm never doing one. But right now at this point in my life, I don't really have the time or the money or the energy, if I'm being honest, to do a university degree. And when I potentially go and have kids in the future, I'm probably not going to have time then. I do want to do one, but like realistically speaking, I'm probably not going to do one. Also, I have no idea what I'd do a degree in. I've got so many things that I'm interested in that I just couldn't possibly choose. Like, I'd love to do an English literature degree. I'd love to do a gender studies degree, like feminism. I'd love to do a queer degree of some kind. I don't know what, but like something focusing in on queer history maybe, or just queer culture. Forensic psychology, archaeology. Oh my god, I always wanted to be an archaeologist when I was a kid, so bad. History. How could I do one? How could I choose just one? I don't know. This is a fascinating true crime related question. So what do I believe is more important? Justice for victims, so life or at least decades in prison for killers, or rehabilitation for killers? Now I read this and my first instinct is to be like, justice. Justice is always the most important thing. And whilst I do stand by that, I do believe that justice is very important. At the end of the day, in a lot of countries around the world, the prison system is a business, and it is very much in the prison's best interest to ensure that prisoners leave prison and then come back, keeping these same prisoners in this sort of like cycle for decades. So whilst I believe justice is really important, can justice be sort of obtained through true rehabilitation? Like, is it better to have somebody who was formerly a criminal, somebody who formerly was dangerous to be out on the streets, and have them completely reform their life and be able to live out in the open and like live in the real world safely? Like, is that true justice to like fix that? Like, I do really think that one of the only ways society is going to like truly progress in life is true rehabilitation, like teaching prisoners life skills, money skills, things that they can use when they go back into society and make themselves and make society better. Like, that is something I do feel really, really passionate about. But then I think of people like Levi Belfield, who killed Millie Dowler. I covered that in a video a few weeks ago. Do I ever want him to be back out on the streets, even if he is rehabilitated? Absolutely not. But then I think about people who have turned to a life of crime just based on these sort of circumstances they found themselves in life. Maybe abusive parents, maybe they had no money growing up, maybe they had to turn to crime to be able to put food on the table, maybe their parents just didn't care for them at all, maybe they didn't have the right support in school and so acted out, and now they found themselves adults with no actual life skills, and so they end up committing a serious crime that ends up with them in prison. Do I believe they should be rehabilitated? Yes. All in all, I have no idea. That's a really, really tough question. I love this question. Tell us more about your cats, and then somebody's commented underneath ... and horses. I have 2 cats. They are my actual children. If you asked me 5 years ago if I would be a cat person over a dog person, I would have said absolutely not. I got 2 cats. I'm obsessed with them. Like, I am obsessed with my cats. I think about them constantly. When I'm out of the house, all I think is about how I'm so excited to get home and huff my cats, just like smell them. I never thought I'd be this person, but yet here I am. So we've got 2 cats. We've got Crumble, who we got as a kitten. She is absolutely wild, is our Crumble. She is a little black cat. I say little, she's fucking massive. She's our massive black cat, and she is just like on crack constantly. Like, sometimes I'm sure she just sits there vibrating. She's just like so excited to be alive. She loves to cuddle, but not like cuddle. She likes to come and sit next to you and like curl up into a ball, but you can't touch her. She's just got to know that she's next to you. And so that's cuddling for Crumble. She loves to climb. She loves to play stone, which is literally, we have a stone that she's just obsessed with, and so we throw the stone for her all the time, and she just like goes feral over it. Just so much energy in one little cat, and they're both indoor cats because we live quite close to a main road, and letting them be outdoor cats would literally be a death sentence where we live. So they're both indoor cats, so we spend a lot of time just trying to like use up Crumble's energy. And then my little baby Rhubarb, she's our little tortie, and she is just the cuddliest little baby ever. Like, she just wants to be on you all the time. Like, she doesn't feel like she's close enough just being on you. Like, she wants to be like inside you, is Rhubarb. She just like is so loving. She is a rescue who we got She was the cat of an old lady. Her old lady died, and so she got fostered by a woman who lives nearby us. And then I saw a post on Facebook, yeah, it must have been Facebook, from her saying like, I've got this foster cat, we're looking for her forever home. And then I was like, I will take her. So I took her, and she is my actual baby. Like, that cat is my child. We very much joke that like Rhubarb's my cat and Crumble is Holly, my girlfriend's cat, because they just like, they've very much chosen their people. Yeah, I love Rhubarb so much. She's just so sweet. She also, I don't think her old lady ever fed her cat food. I think she was very much just fed on human food, because you put out cat food for her and she just like completely ignores it. Like, sometimes she actually like retches. But you put like a Bakewell tart in front of her, or like a cheese and bacon pastry, she will go mad for it. She loves human food. Also pesto. She loves pesto. So they're my kitty cats, and I've got a pony. His name is Mojo. He's a 13-2 New Forest. That will only mean something to horse people, but basically he's like this big. He's tiny. I'm tiny. He's tiny. It works out very nicely. And he is an ex-riding school boy, so he came from riding school in London, and he decided he hated riding school life, and he would just be an absolute dick in all the lessons, and he'd literally just use every trick in the book that he could to like stop having to be a riding school pony. So they were like, I think he needs a different home. And then enter me, who just wants a pony to love and spoil. I don't really ride that much. I'm not a very confident rider. With my back and with my anxiety, it's just an absolute nightmare for me. I do ride, just not, I'm not competitive. I'm not like what you would picture when you picture like a horse rider. I sit on him and we go for like little hacks through the woods, and we just plod around and we have a really nice time together. He is super safe. He is literally bomb proof. Like, the riding school I got him from was literally next door to a shooting range. And in that moment, I was like, he is my ideal pony. He is an angel, but he's also a bit of a dick. Like, if he sees some grass over there, he's gonna go for that grass, and there ain't nothing you can do to stop him. Like, he is strong. His neck is like this. We always joke that he's got like the head and neck of like a 16-2 massive horse on the body of a tiny pony. And I love him. Do I think I'll ever bring back my serial killer spotlight series? And no, I will never be bringing them back as like a regular series for a few reasons. A, they were a lot of hard work, like a lot of hard work, and it just added sort of a lot to my plate. And they were always demonetized, and like I was just putting them out just because like you guys liked them, but they weren't really like, I didn't particularly enjoy making them. They scared me a little bit, if I'm being honest. And B, when you're in the world of true crime, you're constantly growing, you're constantly learning, you're constantly listening to what victims and survivors are telling you. And there's a lot of like morals and ethics to consider doing videos like I do on the internet, and it's something I'm constantly aware of, and I'm always listening, I'm always learning. And I came to learn that serial killer videos, they don't help anyone. All you're doing is putting out the name of the serial killer and not focusing in on the victims, which is what I feel like my channel very much is. Like, I like to think of myself as like a victim advocate. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to like put that as like a banner at the top of my page. Like, it feels a bit like self-serving to say that. But that's always what I've got in the forefront of my mind when I'm making my videos. Like, am I helping people by sharing this story? That is why I don't really do solved true crime unless the solved case I feel like has got a moral or sort of something to learn from it. This is why I only do unsolved, because I want to be able to say I'm actually trying to help rather than just trying to profit and trying to sort of share these stories for whatever reason. Like, why would I go out there and just rehash somebody's trauma just because those videos do better? And let me tell you, solved true crime and serial killer videos do 10 times better, like literally 10 times better than anything else on my channel. But morally, I found it really icky. It wasn't something that was like aligning with what I want my channel to be, and so I decided to stop it. This isn't to say that I will never ever do another video about serial killer again. Like I said, if there's some sort of moral that can be put out there, if it is an active serial killer, if I can sort of like make the video as like a warning, and I feel like it's actually like putting something helpful out in society, then I shall do that. But I don't remember the last time that was the thing. I don't remember the last time I did a serial killer video, and I wouldn't bet on there being very many more in the future. I'm sorry. I know people really, really like those videos, but just, it felt icky. I just want to help. I don't want to rehash people's trauma for no good reason. I don't want to be elevating a serial killer's name and a serial killer's story above that of a victim. And it's really hard to elevate the stories of victims when you're trying to talk about, in some cases, like 50, 60 different people. And yeah, no. Since I know certain people are triggered by the mention of your sexuality, would you ever consider marrying? I know in recent years more and more people have seen it as pointless, whether they're straight or gay. Would be interested to hear your point of view on it. I am one of those girls who's been planning her wedding since before she can remember. Like, I have always wanted the fairy tale wedding, the big white dress. I'm obsessed with wedding dresses. Like, for my A-levels, both A1 and A2, I made, or in textiles I should clarify, I made wedding dresses. I love weddings. I love everything about them. I love love. Like, I know that's super soppy, but like, I cannot watch a single like proposal video on TikTok without bawling my eyes out, or like people reading their vows to each other. Oh my god, I will, like, every time it's like my trigger every single time, and I'll be like sobbing. I love it. But also, on the other hand, I grew up thinking that I would never get married, and like, as a teenager, as a kid, I couldn't have put it into words why I didn't think I'd ever get married. I just had this like feeling in me, like, I'm obsessed with weddings, I want to wear the big white dress, but I'm never gonna get married. Like, it's never gonna happen. And obviously, growing up, realising that I'm gay, that made a lot more sense. But then when I was 21, was it 2015 it got legalised here? Wait a sec. I was 20 when same-sex marriage got legalised here in the UK, like when the first same-sex marriages actually started happening. And I remember just being like, oh my god, like maybe one day I will get married. At this point, I very much still thought I was bisexual. Like, I very much thought I was bisexual for many, many years. That comp het got me real bad. But like, still in my head, even when I was bisexual, I was never getting married. Like, never. Like, people would ask me if I could see myself getting married, and I'd be like, no, it's never gonna happen. Now I'm in a long-term relationship. I would love to get married. Like, I've always wanted to be married. I just never thought it was going to happen for me. So I think for me, like, it's so important to me. The fact that I grew up thinking it would never happen to me, and then it was legalised when I was 20 years old. Like, that's quite old. It just, I'm going to cry. Like, I will cry. So I think for me, and I've spoken to my girlfriend about this, like, at length as well, like, marriage for us is a statement of, like, look what we can do. Like, we can do this. We are allowed to do this, and nobody can take it away from us, except people can take it away, and they will very much try, I'm sure. But like, just being able to stand there at an altar with my wife in a dress, both of us in dresses, like, that would just be like, it would just mean so much. And this is what really gets me when straight homophobic people are like, it ruins the institution of marriage. Like, why can't they just have their civil partnerships and that be enough? Like, I know so many couples that have got divorced. I know so many people who get married just because they think that's what society expects of them. And so they go through the motions. They get married, they have a kid, they get divorced, and like, that's it. And marriage doesn't mean that much. Whereas to me, like, being able to do that means so much. And like, it's not expected of me and my girlfriend to get married. Like, we're not doing it because it's like a societal expectation of us. We're doing it because we want to. I say this, she hasn't proposed, neither of us have proposed, but like, hypothetically, like, when we get married, it's because we want to do it and we are choosing to do it. That went off on a thing, but yes, marriage is very important to me. Oh, this next question, and this is no shade to the person who asked this, because I get like some variation of this question like constantly, but it's like, where do you see your channel going? What happens if you can't do content full time anymore? Like, do you have a backup plan? Like, what will you do if you log onto the internet one day and YouTube's just gone? I'm like, I get another job. Same as what you'll do if you like turn up for your office job one day and you've been made redundant, like you get another job. I will also get another job if it gets to a point where YouTube can't sustain my lifestyle anymore. I will just get another job. In what? I don't know. But like, I will find a job. There's always jobs out there that you can get. It just makes me laugh every time because my go-to line is literally like, well, what will you do if you get made redundant or you get fired tomorrow? And they're like, well, I'll get another job. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's it. That's your answer then. But to answer your specific questions, where do I see my channel going? I don't know. I'm just going with the flow. I don't see my channel ever like really blowing up and being massive. I don't want that. Like the thought of having like 220,000 subscribers makes me feel a little bit sick. I don't particularly want loads of subscribers. As long as I'm getting views on my videos, I'm not that bothered at all about my channel actually blowing up, which again is something I think that's like come with age. But like realistically, do I want that? Not really. Do I ever worry I won't be able to afford to do content full time? Constantly, like all the time. Like I don't earn obscene amounts of money. Like when you think of what YouTubers earn, people in the true crime world, they don't earn that kind of money. Most of my videos get demonetized. I don't earn much money on my like actual videos themselves, which is why I and a lot of other true crime content creators have to rely on brand deals. But then again, I'm very, very fussy with brand deals. I won't do them on your standard video because it just feels a little bit gross to be talking about somebody who's missing and then be like, this video is sponsored by HelloFresh or Squarespace. Like, it just, I don't enjoy that. So I pretty much only do brand deals on sort of like ad approved mysteries that I have decided is like, it's tasteful to do an ad on them, or on my history series, because you'll notice more often than not my history series is brand dealed. I earn most of my money on this channel through my history series, in all honesty, even though they get like half the amount of views. My backup plan, no backup plan, I just go with the flow. We'll see what happens. How did me and my girlfriend meet? We met on Tinder, of all places. My best friend did actually try to set us up on a date like 2017, 2016. I said no. Then we met on Tinder many years later in 2020. Are there any stories you regret covering? If there are, why? Yeah, I regret covering the Madeleine McCann case. I regret covering the John Benet Ramsey case. I just don't feel like those cases need any extra publicity to them. They're already very, very well known, and all I get in the comments of those videos is just hate and crazies and conspiracy theories. So much so that I actually think I've turned off the comments on them, if I remember correctly. Actually, I might have even privated my Madeleine McCann video. I regret a lot of the big serial killer cases I did back in the day. I regret a lot of my earlier videos. I really feel like I would do them a lot more justice if I redid them now. Like back when I first started doing this, there wasn't loads of thought into like the ethics and stuff behind it. I feel like there's something I keep coming back to in this video, but I'm going to keep talking about it because I do think it's important. Like I didn't really know much in those days. I was literally like in my early 20s. Like I didn't put much thought into it, and I'm glad I did it because it sort of grew me into who I am now and what I know now, and I wouldn't change what I do now. But then again, maybe in 5 years' time I will look back at what I'm doing now and cringe. I don't know. But yeah, I just feel like a lot of my older videos, I could have done them so much better. I could have done them so much more justice. So yeah, I say this all the time, but I always consider like privating or deleting a load of my like old earlier videos and redoing them now, but I don't know if I'll do that. If I could give one unidentified person their identity back, who would it be? There are so many choices. I think potentially Tempe Girl. I covered Tempe Girl's case about a year ago, and she was a girl in Arizona who can't have been older than like 21, who died of an overdose, and there were witnesses to her death, but nobody knows who she is. And just the thought of her being unidentified, like she was so young. Like, where did she come from? She seemed to like be from the area, but yet nobody's ever come forward with her name. It really upsets me. What made me decide to cut my hair? You always said it was your baby. It looks great, by the way. I love it. Thanks for your hard work. I love your channel. Thank you very much. The decision to cut my hair was multi-layered, I suppose. For those of you who don't know, my hair was literally like down like to my waist, past my waist. It was like down to my hips. I enjoy having long hair. I'm getting older. I'm nearly 29. I felt like it was making me look a lot younger than I actually am. And I was also worried about becoming one of those like old ladies who has like really, really long hair and it looks a bit witchy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. That's just not the vibe for me. And I know I'm only 28 currently, but like I was thinking like I can't have long hair, like crazy long hair forever. My hair just keeps growing. It's like my superpower, like my shit superpower is the fact that my hair just doesn't stop growing. Like if I let it, it would literally like go down to the floor. Having long hair is really, really annoying, especially when it's as like flat as mine. Like my hair is poker straight, like literally poker straight. And I found because it's so like sort of silky, it got knotted so easily. So every day I was having to like get knots out of my hair. It would make me cry. It was so painful. It never looked very nice again because it's so flat. It was just lank and long and I couldn't do anything with it. Also, there was an element of like I want to sort of like lean more into like a queer identity kind of thing, and I can't be clocked. Like I'm very feminine, like I'm very femme, but I felt like my long hair very much leaned into that femme thing, and I wanted to maybe signal a little bit more in terms of my queerness. Again, it's just a haircut. I know it's not like it, but like it sort of made me feel a bit more like part of a community. It's just so much easier now. Like I can just clip it up like this and it's not heavy and it doesn't hurt my neck, and it's like it's just so much easier. It's currently like grown. So it's already like down to here, and I last got it cut to here like 4 months ago maybe. I'm due another haircut next week, so I'm getting it cut short again. Many reasons why I wanted to cut it. I just felt like I was sort of like entering a new phase of my life and I just needed a haircut, so that's what I did. Talking queerness, do I face any form of homophobia where I live or by family, friends, strangers online? Not particularly. I get a lot of it online, mostly ignorance in my YouTube comments, especially on cases I've covered involving sort of queer people. It's never necessarily directed at me, but it very much opens my eyes to how much homophobia there is still out there. I find when you live in your own little bubble with your own like special people and everyone's lovely, it's very easy to forget that there are homophobes and bigots and awful people out there who are just so unaccepting. And I'm kind of like in a way grateful for some of the comments I get, the really hateful comments, because it reminds me to like not let my guard down. Family, friends, no. There's ignorant things, but there's not things I would say is like blatant homophobia from family and friends, like nothing that's malicious. There's just sort of like little moments of ignorance that you like my family are thinking about going on holiday and they wanted to go to Dubai and now they want to go to Florida, but obviously me and my girlfriend have got to think really deeply about things like that. Like we can't go to Dubai because we are illegal in Dubai, and it's like, well, why don't you just go and pretend to be friends? Like, you don't have to, like, act like a couple in public. And it's like, we don't have to, no, but do we want to go to a place where we have to do that? My family really want to go to Florida because it's, like, been our place growing up. We want to do, like, this big family holiday for my dad's 60th. Can we go? I don't know. So it's never malicious homophobia. There is, like, a touch of ignorance sometimes, but I think that's just, like, you can't live in the shoes of somebody else, so things like that to be expected as long as people like listen and learn. And so it was Lesbian Visibility Day last week, and I posted an Instagram photo with the caption, "It's Lesbian Visibility Day, so if you don't like this post, you're homophobic. Sorry, I don't make the rules." And it was a photo of me and my girlfriend, and like most of the comments are so nice. Like whenever I post a couple's photo, I will get like about 2,000 more likes than I will do if I post any other photos. Like generally, no, like people are lovely. But I got this one comment. It was, "Why would you say that? Maybe people don't need to see it thrust in their face." And then like that comment sucks, and like I got that comment and it made my heart like drop. I was like, oh, why? But then like 4-5 different people all jumped in and like defended me, and it was just really nice. Like most of the replies to that were people being like, would you say that if it was a straight couple kissing? Like, would you say that if it was a heterosexual marriage? You wouldn't, no. I feel like I've gone on a tangent. It is mostly strangers online. There's like certain places where like me and my girlfriend will hold hands and we'll get like looks. But you've just got to be really, really aware. Like, life is better for queer couples in general. Like, if you're a same-sex couple, like, you're not in immediate danger, at least where I live in the UK. Like, this does not stand for the whole world, obviously. I'm not in immediate danger of getting beat up if I walk down the street holding my girlfriend's hand, but it's very much one of those things where you've got to read the signals, you've got to read the room, you've got to sort of like note all the time who's around, who might have a problem, and you've got to be careful with these things. So that's life. I reckon I've answered enough questions there, because I could keep going, but this video would be hell long and I don't think people care that much to watch it for that much longer. So I'm going to sign off here. Thank you so much for tuning in for my 2023 annual Q&A. If you have got any other questions, then just leave them in the comments and I'll reply to as many as I can. Why not? Let's have a comment sesh. Thank you so much to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Again, my discount code will be in the description box down below. Make sure you go and check it out. I love HelloFresh. Like, I love them. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sponsored. Like, I love the company. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.